We're back. Welcome, everybody, to the Lamborghini World Finals. The Friday of the event, as ever, the final rounds of the regional championships for Europe and first North America, and then Saturday and Sunday here at Misano, given over to the World Final itself. And welcome back after we had to miss 2020. We are still missing our Asian friends because Asian activity still not yet able to resume really, and therefore the teams to travel. But we still have the best of Europe and the best of North America. David Addison in the booth, Marietta Evans down on the grid, and we're looking forward to a really busy day because we have the final races of North America and Europe, so it's 2 for each. Very busy grid for Europe, a really competitive grid as well for the North American Championship, and with titles on the line, some being decided, no doubt, in the last race, some being decided on the back of qualifying, such is the point situation. And, of course, inevitably, there are instances where we are having a driver with a new co-driver to try and help his chances, and in the case of one or two, they're not here because of the travel dramas. So in the North American Championship, for example, the leader of Lamborghini Cup, Mark Dickin, is absent, but that equally opens the way clear for other battles to develop. The Misano circuit is not exactly tropically warm this morning, it's got to be said. It's a little bit on the chilly side, and thankfully the track is dry, but it's going to be, I would have thought, a challenge for these drivers for the first activity of the day because they've had no warm-up session. All they have done is get to the grid. It's going to be a very cold track surface indeed. And pole position set yesterday by Richard Antonucci. He will be the man to beat in this race because Richard Antonucci is a solo driver, so you don't have to worry about a co-driver's pace to affect his chances. He has been very rapid all season with 5 race wins to his name, and potentially he's going to add to that over the course of the next 50 minutes, which will be the race duration as it is for all Lamborghini Super Trofeo activity. 50 minutes the duration. Pit window 20 to 30 as ever, and you have a different pit stop time if you're a solo driver or a 2-driver entry. And so if you are 2 drivers, line to line, it is 140 seconds. And if you are on your own, if you're a soloist, it is 143. Why the difference? Well, if you are on your own, you have a better chance, really, on your first lap of the second stint because you instinctively know what the car feels like and indeed what the track feels like, whereas the new driver into the other cars having to play themselves in. So it gives you a little bit of an advantage, if only for a lap, and to try and mitigate that, there is this difference. You've got to be stationary for 60 or 63 seconds, but you also, as I say, have line to line, 140 and 143 to negotiate. Right. Let's go to the grid, because, as ever, busy out there and finding lots of people to talk to. It's Marietta Evans. Good morning, Marietta.
Good morning, David. I'm with a man who has a lot of reasons to be very happy because not only is he leading the championship, but as you said, he is on pole for race 1. Richard Antonucci, how are you feeling ahead of the race?
I'm feeling good. You know, it's always the most tense moment, but I'm trying to stay focused, centered, and get the job done.
How does it feel? How are you coping with the pressure of having, for example, Aga Khan, one of the closest rivals for the title, right behind you?
Pretty relaxed.
That is the attitude. Good luck for the race.
One of Richard's other main rivals is going to be Stephen Mclean. Now, he's an example of somebody that's brought in what you might call a ringer, a different co-driver for this weekend. He has got Jeroen Mul with him, and Stephen Mclean has had different co-drivers, in fact, over the course of the season, but Jeroen Mul, Lamborghini factory driver, will join him for the races this weekend with a better opportunity potentially. And there's another one because lining up on the outside of the front row of the grid is Eduardo Liberati. Now he, for the purposes of this weekend, is brought in to help in the Dream Racing Team car, Dario Capitano. That is a pro combination now. Dario Capitano having been in Pro-Am, but with Liberati with him, he's now up into the pro class, and Eduardo Liberati again, he's going to be very much the gun driver in that car. Engines are firing up, as you can hear in the background, and so now the drivers set to take their formation lap, and we can have a chance to have a look around the Misano circuit, just a few miles from the Adriatic coast. Green flag is waved. Daniele Galbiati, the race director for all activity over the weekend, and he gives the instruction to let the cars go, and it is Richard Antonucci then who will lead them with his Dream Racing squad teammate, Eduardo Liberati, with him at the front of the grid as they turn their way then down through the Curva del Parco, then on towards Rio, and an opportunity for the drivers to have a feel for the circuit to try and get some warmth into the Pirelli tyres here. Let's have a look at the grid. Richard Antonucci will start on pole position. Eduardo Liberati with him at the front of the grid. Starting third is Stephen Agacani, one of the revelations of the World Final back in 2019, and Carl Marcelli lines up alongside from fourth. Max Wearing, who split his time between America and Europe this year, he will start fifth. Jeroen Mull sixth on the grid, ahead of Luke Barkley, and then starting eighth on the grid in number 153, that is Jordan Missig. Next up comes Alan Metni, and Brian Ortiz alongside him, ahead of Ashton Harrison, and then Claude Senhoretti, sharing with Loris Spinelli, who we'll hear a lot of over the course of the weekend, I'm sure. 13th on the grid, Randy Solari. John Hennessy is next in number 133 out of the Lamborghini Cup contest. I'll come to the classes in a moment. Michael Manella starts 15th on the grid. 16th is Mark Kvama, and then you have John Hirschberg, who had an off yesterday, damaged the car. Victor Gomez a long way back on the grid by his normal high standards. And then also, right at the very back, Mel Johnson. Now, there's a saga attached to this because that's a spare car. Mel Johnson did some damage, or Patrick Liddy did some damage yesterday. The car damaged, and therefore the team said, can't repair it, can we use a spare? The steward said, yeah, you can, but you've got to start from the back of the grid. So what that did was give up the time set by Patrick Liddy and put them to the rear of the grid. So that then is how the field lines up. There is Pro, Pro-Am, Am and Lamborghini Cup to keep an eye to over the course of the race, with, of course, the less experienced drivers being in the Lamborghini Cup, the real gun drivers being in Pro. And Mark Kvama here, starting in 147. That car is on the 8th row of the grid as the field now turns its way towards the final corner of the lap, which is the Curva Misano, and then they will get themselves into that 2x2 Noah's Ark formation, ready to go racing. And Misano, of course, a circuit that is busy with bikes as well as cars and trucks, and you will find the so-called yellow bananas, those curbs you just got a glimpse of on the outside, ready to catch you out if you try and exceed track limits here. It was quite a talking point at the GT World Challenge Europe race in the summer. The lights are red, the lights will change then to get race one of the weekend underway. 50 minutes of Lamborghini action, the North America penultimate round is go, and a good getaway by Richard Antonucci then, who tries to storm ahead of Eduardo Liberati, who's on the outside line down towards turn one. Antonucci leads the way. Liberati slots in behind him. It's a proper battle between these two in the Pro category. One or two there being slightly delayed as they wriggle their way up through for the first time. Ashton Harrison backing out of it, so she avoided making contact with the field ahead, and also trying to get through the traffic. Then Patrick Liddy up from the back of the grid in number 108. 102 run out wide then as they go through Rio for the first time, and now come out onto that fast back straight heading down towards the Quechua corner. But you can see that up front right now, it is Richard Antonucci getting away. Second is Liberati then, and a battle is on, three wide almost, lower down the field as they turn their way now up through Quechua. Can run it out wide, but not too wide there, and drama in the background. There's one that has spun already. That possibly was a legacy of cold tyres, or it might have been a tap. We'll see. 199 Alan Metni it is that's gone around them. So the changed racing car from the AM category facing the wrong way, and that's bad news straight off for Alan Metni then, because he will drop way, way down the order. He came into this as well fighting Luke Barkley to win the AM Championship. He was something like 13 points back, so that's a big blow early in the weekend. As there through goes 104. That is Michael Manella at the wheel of it for the opening stint of this race. So the cars now then accelerate their way up towards the end of lap one, and he's Richard Antonucci, 127 ahead of 122, his teammate Eduardo Liberati. Richard Antonucci, who of course raced for much of his early days in single-seater racing in Europe, went back to the States and has rebuilt a career really alongside Lamborghini activity. He leads from Liberati. Now Jeroen Mull for Stephen McAleer is up into third place. Stephen Agacani is fourth, and a good battle going on there. 153 you can see, which is the car in the hands of Jordan Missig. He's under attack from Luke Barkley, who at the moment is leading his class. Luke Barkley leading the AMs. and Jordan Missig, in fact, 153, end of lap 1, leading in Pro-Am. So two class leaders together, whereas Richard Antonucci is getting away, and inexorably getting away. If anything, I would offer you your own Mull in the blue car in 3rd place, taking Stephen Agakani with him. He's catching, in fact, Richard Antonucci for the race lead. So that gap between the top two coming down ever so slightly as the field now works its way up towards the top of the lap, and drama there with a punctured tyre already. Now that is Ashton Harrison. Now what has caused that? Is it contact or has it gone wide over a curb? Either way, 125 Ashton Harrison is limping to the pit lane. A really bad start to her day, sad to say. And the Wayne Taylor racing car out of the Am Cup is possibly going to bring out, yes it is, the safety car. Now does that mean that we've got another car in strife somewhere as well? Alan Metney I don't think has yet come through either. So the safety car is being deployed. Ashton Harrison is limping round to the pit road, but high drama then. Safety car deployed on just lap 2 of the race. Ashton Harrison, whatever has caused that puncture, is doing absolutely the right thing, crawling round so as not to do extra damage. Alan Metney's car, you would think they'd come together, wouldn't you, looking at the fact that they're both in strife at the same time. Now he's got it off the road, and therefore that should mean that the safety car is only brief. But Alan Metney out after a spin and then possible contact, and certainly 125 Ashton Harrison with a puncture. So drama from the start in the penultimate race in the North American Championship. Now does this show us, first of all, what happened to Metney? Well, there he goes. That was the spin that we saw. Now there's Ashton Harrison, and it looks as though maybe the tyre had gone down even at that point. Yeah, it has. So Alan Metney got going out of the gravel, but on the opening lap of the race to have a puncture, it can only be surely that Ashton Harrison had cut a curb or run over something that had put the tyre down. So she limps to the pit lane, but that is, as I say, bad news to start the day. The only benefit of this is that she can get back out and do some more reconnaissance of the circuit for race 2, but very, very slow in lap, and absolutely right so as not to damage the car, damage the wheel, damage the bodywork any further. The other danger is that she'll go a lap down, of course, as we look back. So the field led by Richard Antonucci ahead of Eduardo Liberati, and then Jeroen Mull in that 3rd place. 4th, Stephen Agakani. 5th, Max Weering, who comes here also as one of the drivers in with the chance of winning the the European Championship. And then 6th, 101 Carl Marcelli. Safety car in at the end of this lap, so indeed brief. Murphy's Law, isn't it, for the race director? You send the safety car just as the driver you need to retrieve gets going of his own volition. So we'll be back racing this time, and don't forget as well that we are counting down towards that pit window at the 20-minute mark. So any gaps that had opened up now shrink. The field starts to get ready for the restart. 123 then, Luke Barkley gets ready to have another go at Jordan Missig. Richard Antonucci, Eduardo Liberati, then Jeroen Mull in the largely blue car, all weaving around, trying to maintain what limited tyre temperature and pressure they had built up over that first lap and a bit. This will bring them through then to the end of the 3rd lap. And so there, 153, Jordan Missig gets set to go. Another car that's done a very good job up from the back of the grid, Patrick Liddy. He's absolutely stormed through. He's into the top 10 already. So Patrick Liddy has done a good job. We're down effectively to 18 of them with the demise of Alan Metney there. 146 goes through. So that car is Brandon Godovic, who effectively in qualifying yesterday won with Brian Ortiz the Pro-Am competition. There was only Victor Gomez that could have done anything about them. He would have needed 2 wins, 2 poles, and Godovic and Ortiz not to score, and he didn't get the fastest lap points in qualifying. So Godovic and Ortiz are Pro-Am champions. We go racing. Safety car peels in, green flags fly, Antonucci on his toes, but so also this time Liberati, Mull and Agakani. So they're leading 4 as 1 as they wriggle their way through the first sequence of corners, the right, left, right that takes you through Parco in front of the big Lamborghini hospitality building, and then the cars accelerate down towards the Rio curve, and a challenge made on the inside line. Bold effort that by Agakani to go through ahead of Jeroen Mull. Jeroen is no slouch, but Stephen Agakani jumped him there good and proper. Stephen Agakani had a big off on Tuesday in testing. They lost quite a lot of the week, therefore, with the damage, did a lot of damage to the rear, but Stephen Agakani here righting the wrongs, as it were, because he pulled a really good move there up on the inside line to go through as the field now turns down towards the left of Quechia and then up towards Trofeo at the top of the lap. Ashton Harrison is about to rejoin, by the way, with a new tyre on that car. Out of Trofeo they come. Speed building then as they head off towards Corvone. That right hand, it looks on a map like a kink, but it's a proper corner. You can certainly feel the car turn. And then you keep on turning all the way around to the Curva del Carro. So the race leader, Richard Antonucci, trying to break away. He was only 3/10 up, of course, on that restart, but he is getting away now from Eduardo Liberati. And of course, one of the fascinations always when we have the North American Championship at the World Final weekend is how quickly drivers adapt to the circuit. Yes, they've been here all week, or the bulk of the week testing, but it is the great leveler because it's somewhere completely new. Inevitably, many of the Europeans might have raced here in other championships or in previous years of Super Trofeo, but of course, the venue for the World Final is always somewhere that the championships have not been to already during the course of the year, so that nobody has an obvious advantage. If you race there in the past, there's not much that can be done about that, but certainly not during the current season. Field turns through 104, heads up now through the Rio curve. That is Michael Manella, who's currently second within Lamborghini Cup, chasing after Mclean. But there, 127, Richard Antonucci leading. 7/10 of a second up he was at the end of the restart lap, and now trying to build that cushion even further. So Antonucci from Liberati, and there another challenge being made there because Max Weering under attack from Carl Marcelli. Marcelli tries to make the run up on the inside for Quercia, couldn't do it. The Wayne Taylor racing car then, the blue and black car on the outside line now up towards Tramonto. He's looking to get the undercut onto the straight there, but for the moment at least the MCR racing car of the Dutchman, Max Weering, fending him off. Max comes here looking to win the European title with Loris Spinelli's help. Spinelli is also in the American races too with a different driver, so many leaping from car to car, team to team, as way out wide over the curve there goes Carl Marcelli. Couldn't quite find a way by, but as ever, not for the want of trying. Marcelli will hand that car over to Danny Formal, whereas Max Weering is a soloist, so that car can maintain that pace pretty much all the time. Carl Marcelli then right on the back of Weering. 2 years ago he was the Pro-Am champion in GT World Challenge America. Last year he was the GT4 Grand Sprint champion with the IMSA Sprint Challenge. So Carl Marcelli, who's also been loyal to Lamborghini over the years, has a good track record, good pedigree, and right now he's giving Max Weering a real workout. Lead gap crept up again, 0.8 of a second now. Antonucci to Liberati last time around. Great sound these Lamborghini Hurricanes make. The Evo 2 is on display here this weekend as well. As you see Jordan Missick go through, the Evo 2 will take the Lamborghini sporting pedigree another step forward. It's been another wonderful season for Lamborghini as well, winning races, winning titles in GT categories around the globe, and many of those champions are going to be recognised tomorrow evening at the regular prize giving as they're going through. 153 Jordan Missick, but he's under attack. Goes out wide. That brings Luke Barkley into the mix. Luke leading his class in the race, and he's also leading his class in the championship. So with Alan Metney out, it makes Luke Barkley's life just a little bit easier in terms of being able to secure the AM title. Still got another race to go, still got more points on offer, but if he can keep out of trouble here and outscore the opposition, the next one being Ashton Harrison, of course, who's also been in strife, but it's looking very good indeed for Luke Barkley. Jordan Missick accelerates then now up towards the top of the lap, if you like. Goes on towards the tight right up at Del Carro, and then sets the car up for the Curva del Misano at the end of the lap as the field now turns through. Nose to tail battle going on. Missick versus Barkley. It's for 7th and 8th on the road, both of them class leaders, so arguably they don't need to battle here. They could just keep out of trouble, but they're getting stuck in. Racers are racers, aren't they? It's the class points that everybody is after, not necessarily the overall finishing position. Sun breaking through at Misano. It is still early, local time, it's got 9:30. So the track surface getting warmer as the race goes on. Richard Antonucci has done the fastest lap of the race now as well. So Richard Antonucci, as he extends only by about 1/10 a lap, the margin is lapping quicker than anybody else. Their battle is on lower down, 7th and 8th, as the leaders head down towards Quercia now. Turn through the left-hander, get back onto the power, and a challenge is made. Luke Barkley to the inside line, has a good long think about it, has a good long look, but there Jordan Missick gets run out wide over the curve, and in so doing maintain the momentum, so he's able to hang on to the place now as they go up towards right. It's like a hairpin at the top of the lap. You see Barkley try and use the curb on the inside to prise open the door. can't do it. Nose to tail they run here. Luke Barkley, only 17 at the start of this, his first season in car racing. He has done an outstanding job. And Jordan Missig, slightly older at 23, who has come from single-seater racing, having done Formula Regional Americas into Super Trofeo this year. So two relative rookies having a good battle, and Patrick Liddy in 108 is up behind them now from the back of the grid. Now, Patrick Liddy, who has been a regular Lamborghini Super Trofeo front runner in Pro-Am over the years, goes way, way wide, coming out of the Curva del Misano in the background, ran it out wide over those yellow sausage curbs, the yellow bananas as they're known, and that's cost him a little bit of time, and it brings Brandon Godovic into the mix as well now, or back into the mix. And another one coming up from the rear of the grid is in 129 Victor Gomez, but unruffled up front, Richard Antonucci leads the way there. Through he turns. So Antonucci up front now by over a second, and we are something like 7 minutes just under away from that pit window opening now, as the cars on a slightly calmer lap go down towards Quercia. Now Stephen Agakani, having got himself up into third place, is just getting away slightly from Jeroen Mul, but he's not really doing anything as yet about Eduardo Liberati. The next intrigue is going to come inevitably in the second stint. Number of the cars with a different driver, possibly different pace on board. Right now, though, Luke Barkley is still hustling on in pursuit of Jordan Missig, trying to find a way past him. Ashton Harrison, incidentally, at the tail end of the field, trying to make amends for the lap lost early on when that tyre went down. Right, battles rage on, Pro-Am and Am. Let's quickly hear the thoughts of Stephen McAleer. His car is fourth in the hands of Jeroen Mul. Stephen is with Marietta.
First of all, I think you have to visit the medical center because you're doing very good with cars, but not very good with cats.
Yeah. You know, I got to say, it's been a lot of fun being here in Misano. I've never been to Italy before, and we're obviously watching the race closely. Jeroen is sitting P4 right now. A lot on the line, so we're excited to go out. I'm going to be out there in about 5 or 6 minutes. It's been a great week in Italy. I had some asthma stuff going on a couple of days ago, but I feel a little better, so excited to get out there.
But how are you feeling with how Jeroen is doing in his stint?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're close. It is so competitive over here. The European side is so competitive. We've been keeping our eyes on the lap times of the other cars, and I'm certainly excited for tomorrow and Sunday. But we have a job to do today, and we're going to try and hang on to that P2 in the championship. There's a small chance we can catch Richie, but we need a little bit of luck to catch him.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marietta. Yeah, Stephen McAleer, who had an allergic reaction to cats that had been in the hotel that he was staying in. So that was the trip to the medical centre. Anyway, the good news is that he's fit and well. Whether it was a CAT scan that was needed, I think might be stretching the point. But anyway, the allergic reaction to Moggies has thankfully passed, and the expat Scott is looking good for his stint in that car. But Jeroen Mul is hustling on in pursuit of Stephen Agakani, and as they both run a bit wide over the curb, the Bud Light entry there, look, with Jeroen Mul at the wheel, bringing that gap down to Agakani. Now, Stephen Agakani will also be, when we get to the pit window, switching drivers. Jacob Eidson, former USA scholarship driver to Europe entrant, he will take over the car. We've seen Jacob driving in the Formula Ford Festival and the Walter Hayes Trophy, for example, and he's going to be getting on board that car, whereas Stephen McAleer takes over the car that Jeroen Mul is driving. So again, different drivers, different pace, and it's going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. 1, 2, 3, Luke Barkley goes through now. He's got himself past Jordan Missig, and having done so, he's pulling away. So really impressive job done this by Luke Barkley. There is Jordan Missig's rather sinister all-black car that, as you see now, having lost that place, has fallen away slightly in the pack. And this is how they did it. So Jordan Missig coming up towards Misano, ran out wide just as we went to hear from Stephen McAleer. The place changed, and that was a little error forced out of Jordan Missig that opened the door nice and wide for Luke Barkley to go through. However, as far as Jordan Missig is concerned, he still leads his class, and that is the main thing out of all of this. So he is continuing in good form, maintaining that margin over Brandon Godovic, who will hand over to Brian Ortiz on the pit stops, which are 3 minutes and change away. We're on lap 10 right now here. Richard Antonucci has done the fastest lap of the race, so the very experienced, very successful Richard Antonucci, the nephew of Eddie Cheever, former Grand Prix racer, of course, and the Italian-American driver, not quite on home soil, but there's certainly a link, pressing on in the lead of the race. 129 you just saw accelerate through. Victor Gomez, who came here with an outside chance of winning in Pro-Am, the Puerto Rican driver, who a couple of years ago was the Porsche GT3 champion back in the States, and last year's AM champion in North American. So somebody else with a good pedigree in GT-style cars. And Victor Gomez is running at the moment third in class and in 10th placed overall. We're about 2 laps off the pit window opening, and again, it could well be that given track position, it'll be those at the back of the pack that are able to pit first, just because of where they are relative to the clock. The rest of the field comes storming through. 1 or 2 more, including Claude Sonoretti, Randy Solari, and Carl Hennessy accelerating over the timing line here as the battles continue. John Hennessy, forgive me, there he is, who was new to Super Trofeo last year, driving in the Lamborghini Cup, and he stayed on for another season. And of course, this year benefits from the World Final being added on, so new circuits. It's always one of the quirks for America, and when we have it, the Asian Championship, the last rounds are in a different continent for them, but it brings the whole ethos of the World Finals together, with the final rounds being on a different circuit, great leveler, and then the World Final itself. So Richard Antonucci leads the way by now 1.7 seconds from Eduardo Liberati, so that gap is starting to go up. Stephen Agakani runs third, and getting a replay here of John Hennessy. Just missing the curb, missing the apex a little bit, sliding slightly offline, but the immaculate car that John drives, that comes out of the US Racetronics stable, accelerates through Parco onto the next part of the lap. The race leaders have gone by, and now we are into the last minute before the pit window opens. So in a number of cases, what you've got here is the faster driver starting. You've got the pro. So Eduardo Liberati, for example, Jeroen Mull. Expect them to stay out a little bit later and maximise the time they have behind the wheel. It's always the gamble when you use your faster driver, because if there's a safety car period, then they've got less opportunity to make an impact. Certainly in the start of the race. A bit different in the second part, because then they all bunch up and it's a dash to the flag. And in the 2 driver entries, of course, you have to start one race. You can't have the same person start both. You must do a qualifying session each, and therefore you start the race for which you qualify. Antonucci versus Liberati. The gap 1.9 seconds, but it's still pretty competitive between those two. Eduardo Liberati, remember, will give way on the pit stop in 122 to Dario Capitano, former karter and single-seater racer, raced in Europe in Formula Renault, for example, as well as having raced in Europe in the ELMS, European Le Mans Series. But Liberati is the quicker of the two out of that combination. So I suspect Antonucci in the second stint is going to be safe. And there, Liberati runs it way, way wide, doesn't he? Coming up towards the final corner of Misano. The leaders go through. The pit window is now open. So we've nudged past the first 20 minutes of the race. The window is open. And I'll tell you in a moment if anybody's going to pit. But again, faster driver in the cars. Antonucci stays out, Liberati stays out, Agakani stays out, Max Wearing stays out. But we do get some coming in, and one of them, look, is in 101, Kyle Marcelli. That's interesting, the Canadian in early to give way to Danny Formal. And also in Brandon Godovic early, champion in Pro-Am, to give way to Brian Ortiz, joint champion with him. So there, the Precision Performance Motorsport squad get ready to receive the Brandon Godovic car, and as that stops, the Lamborghini Palm Beach door opens. Brian Ortiz, Grand Am racer, IMSA sports car racer, TCR racer, American Mazda MX-5 champion, vastly experienced peddler. He will get on board. So these pit stops cycle through, and as the graphic shows, out gets Godovic, in gets Ortiz. Brandon Godovic has been another very, very loyal, very supportive part of the Lamborghini family, having moved from racing on the ovals in NASCARs. So there, race leader Richard Antonucci, still looking good up front. And the gap chipped down slightly last time by Eduardo Liberati to 1.8 seconds. Stephen Agakani in third, not really being able to catch at the moment. So there, the race leaders up towards the end of the lap. Richard Antonucci making life look comfortable, if not easy at the moment, because Eduardo Liberati is running at a pace. And 140 seconds means you lose a lap effectively on the pit stops. It's 100 seconds for the two driver entries and a flying lap. At the moment, the best of the race is a 1:33.7 from Antonucci. The next car's in. Stephen Agacani is in. Jordan Missig is in. Also, Loris Spinelli is in, number 151. And that means that he will give way now to... Oh, sorry, he is in the car that Claude Sonoretti has given over. Agacani hands to Jacob Eidson. So Sonoretti to Spinelli. 151 will be a car to watch, that's for sure. Loris Spinelli, massively quick driver. There aren't many things in Lamborghinis he's not won. He's won classes, he's won titles, he's won world finals, whether it's been in America, whether it's been in Europe. Into the fray he will go in a moment. He could be a real candidate to take the fastest lap off Richard Antonucci, I would suggest, as well. So the American teams with their natty pit boards to attract the attention of the driver, so you know exactly where to stop. It's another of the Precision Performance Motorsports cars that arrives, and 147 means that Mark Kvarma is going to give way to Terry Olsen, former Radical racer. He's raced in IMSA sports cars and prototypes, and he will replace the 60-year-old Mark Kvarma, who's come from the Le Mans Cup, from Porsches, from Asian Le Mans, even TCRs as well. So touring car front-wheel drive effort he's been experienced in. Terry Olsen replaces him. And number 147 falls down the order, of course, while we have the pit stop cycling through like this. But that is another of the entries within the Lamborghini Cup. And 4 wins have gone the way this year of Mark and Terry in that car. So they've had a good season. And also just a thought about the Lamborghini Cup, the man that leads it is not here. So Mark Dickin, who is ahead on points by 1 from Mark Kvarma and Terry Olsen, having to miss the event. So really, as long as they finish both races, Mark Kvarma and Terry Olsen should be Lamborghini Cup champions come the end of the day. Battle is on after the pit stops here, because you can see how slightly out of sequence has become now 106. So the car that Jacob Eidson has taken over is running on the racetrack just ahead of Eduardo Liberati, yet to stop, and that's bad news for him in a sense, because it means he's got caught up in the traffic and he's losing touch ever so slightly with Antonucci. Replay here of dramas. Is that a problem? Yes, it is. So who is that? That's Jeroen Mul. So Jeroen Mul's car has got a big problem. Slows right down and doesn't even get as far as the pit lane. That looks mechanical, and so Jeroen Mul, who was hoping here, of course, to help for second in the championship, Stephen Mclean, the car grinds to a halt. The Change Racing car is in strife, no question. It pulls to a halt, and Jeroen Mul's race is done. Well, Stephen Mclean said he needed a bit of luck to catch Richard Antonucci in the championship. The luck is only bad luck, and it ain't riding with him. So 116 is out of the race. That's the next target, Marietta, to go and see if you can find out from the team what has stopped Jeroen Mul in his tracks. But that is bad news, no question about it. Also dramas for 108, because we've had the pit stop for Patrick Liddy to give way now to Mel Johnson, and that car has dropped a long way back in terms of laps, like it's got a problem and can't rejoin. Need to keep an eye on that one as well. I can't see pit in, only the pit exit from where I'm based at the end of the pit road in the booth, but that car 108 feels like it's been in for a long time. Let's go to Marietta quickly.
So, Brandon, I think we can already say congratulations, because you guys have already won the title in Pro-Am.
Yeah, it's glad to be able to come in with no pressure. Be able to, I think we mathematically won the championship after qualifying. I think if worst case scenario happens, we'd end up in a tie and we'd win the tiebreaker by most wins. But glad to be out here in Misano. Such a fun track. We've been having a good time this weekend. Right now, just struggling a little bit with some handling issues that first stint there. So hopefully Brian can finish it off and we can have a good first race and then work on it for the second one.
Thank you very much.
Brandon Godovic then with Marietta in the pit lane. There's the leader in the pit lane, Richard Antonucci. If I say handing over to himself, you know what I mean. He just stays in the car and he has to rely on the team to time it absolutely right. It's 143 seconds line to line, so the team has to be well drilled here at knowing exactly when to release the car, allowing for the pit lane speed limit to make sure that when they get to the end of the pit lane, they're not going to be under. Because if you are under, if it's by fractions of a second, like a tenth, say, then that is multiplied and that time added on at the end. But if you're under by chunks of time, like 4 or 5 seconds, then you get a drive-through penalty to add that on to make up for your deficit in the pits. So ideally, you don't want to be under at all. Loris Spinelli, by the way, I mentioned might be a candidate for the fastest lap. He is a candidate for the fastest lap. He's done it already. So straight into the car. Loris Spinelli underlines why he's got pole positions to his name as well this weekend, because he's the quickest man on track and brings number 151 into the top 10 as Eduardo Liberati comes in 122, and in so doing gives way to Dario Capitano now. Dario is a very, very good Pro-Am driver this season, was well placed in the overall competition when the field was at the Virginia International Raceway, got second overall even as a Pro-Am, but as I say, he's a very good Pro-Am. Door closes, the Bitbull entry is good to go. Quick wipe of the screen. The American teams, again, it's always fascinating to watch them and compare them with the European squad. And it's only really until you get to the World Final itself that you get a proper idea of where everybody fits in the grand scheme of things. You know, the Americans know who their good teams and drivers are, the Europeans likewise. Then you blend them all together. It's always fascinating. And 2 years ago, the World Final was effectively won by the Middle Eastern champions, Jonathan Chicotto and Frederick Schandorf. Well, we don't have a Middle East championship right now with the problems of travel, but hopefully that's going to be back next year. In then now comes 123. So this is Luke Barkley, who leads the Lamborghini Cup, had got himself into the lead of the race, but of course we'll give that up now by dint of needing to make this mandatory pit stop. 21 minutes of the race still to go. Into the pit road he comes and makes his way to the team. Quick check of the Pirelli tyre pressures. Quick clean of the screen, get rid of any of the dead Italian bugs that he's picked up on the last 17 laps of racing. So all this is going to put Richard Antonucci back into the lead of the race, but that's Loris Spinelli, who is inevitably on an absolute mission in the Italian tricolore coloured car from Lamborghini Palm Beach. So Loris Spinelli has taken over from Claude Sonoretti, Ferrari Challenge racer of years past, before coming into Super Trofeo, and Loris Spinelli now, pure and simple, seeing how far he can get that car up the order. Ideally, a Pro-Am class win could be the target here. He can't do it for the championship, but he can certainly do it for pride. And Loris Spinelli then accelerates onto the Tramonto corner at the top of the lap. Luke Barkley serving the pit stop then. He is ready to go as soon as the team gives him the signal that time is up, and the Dream Racing car goes down the pit lane now. So from the AM competition, away he goes back on track. So down the pit road goes Luke Barkley, and as he rejoins, so he falls down the order now, of course, with that pit stop putting back into the lead, of course, Richard Antonucci from Dario Capitano. Jacob Eidson is third and Max Weering runs fourth. So soloists first and fourth. Now we'll start to see whether Weering can do anything about the man ahead of him, which is Jacob Eidson. So third and fourth is the next fight to look for. Richard Antonucci is on target for the race win, and I'm just wondering in all of this whether this is going to be able to give him the championship, because with a non-score for your own Mull and Stephen McAleer, there were 15 points effectively ahead, allowing for 2 pole position points, because Richard Antonucci's done it for both races, and 15 for a win. Richard Antonucci 5 wins, this would be 6. Yes, I think this is enough to give him the championship provisionally. So Richard Antonucci leads the way. He's had 5 wins, Mark McAleer 1. So yeah, crude maths would suggest that if Richard Antonucci hangs on to the lead here to win the race, that would give him the championship. Over the timing line comes 127 then. Richard Antonucci puts another lap in the book. 19 done. 103 is under investigation for an unsafe release. This is Randy Solari's car. He's a soloist at Wayne Taylor Racing, but Randy Solari being looked at for an unsafe release. Reports come back from the marshals about that in the pit lane. And still in the pit lane is 108. Now, Marietta, this might be one to investigate, because Patrick Liddy had stormed through the field from the back of the grid and then got to the pits and has been there now for something like eight laps. So 108, Patrick Liddy with a problem. That's the spare car as well. Remember, the initial race car damaged, so the spare has also got a problem now, which is not what they need, him and Mel Johnson. 123, Luke Barkley still leading his class by a country mile from Randy Solari. But right now trying to fend off Brian Ortiz as well, because these two have got themselves together 6th and 7th on the road, as you can see. Brian Ortiz, the more experienced driver, looking the quicker as they go through Quechia up towards Tramonto now. The door is closed. Luke Barkley, the teenager, has been a quick learner, and Brian Ortiz, discovering how hard it is to get past, shortens the course, doesn't he? Way up the curb on the inside at Tramonto there, but he couldn't find a way through, and in fact, as the car came back onto the power, squirmed a little bit, just unsettled Brian Ortiz, so he had to slightly back out of that. And he's wide again all over the curb there, so having a good old push is Brian Ortiz, leading his class right now. He's leading in Pro-Am, so you've got Pro, then Am, then Pro-Am in the order of the class leaders. Brian Ortiz would like to prove that the Pro-Ams are better than the Pure Ams. We have 122 under investigation for the pit stop time. Now, this is second placed, Capitano and Liberati. Don't think we have a screen with the pit stop times upon it, so I can't tell you how much it was under by, but it's being looked at. So 122, second in the race, looked at for the pit stop here. So there, 133 is John Hennessy, and he's running in 11th place overall right now. Race leaders currently on to lap 21 then, as Richard Antonucci holds the lead, and behind him, by 1.2 seconds behind him now, is Dario Capitano. To the eye, that gap looked like it had come down a bit in the traffic there. Now, Patrick Liddy I've been talking about, 108 with a possible problem. Marietta has news. Marietta?
So, Patrick, you did a fantastic start of the race. Really good, strong first stint, starting from the back of the grid. And then what happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, we were dealing with electrical issues in our first car that we qualified with. So we got a new car, and the power steering broke on that. It's just bad luck, unfortunately. But the car felt really good for the first couple laps. I think we made up 10 spots, and we're chasing the leader. So it's a shame, but hopefully we can get it fixed for the next race. We'll see. Get some better juju coming. Maybe another new car.
Good luck for race 2. Thank you.
How many cars can they get through in a weekend? 2 already. Now, the second place car has picked up a penalty. So number 122, this is Capitano taking over from Liberati. They were under on the pit stop, so are being given an extra 1.179 seconds at the end of the race. Don't think it's going to matter massively in terms of the win, because they're struggling to catch Antonucci, but they might lose second to Jacob Eidson's car. So 122, the message will get through to Dario Capitano. Push, push, push. He's got to get away from Jacob Eidson as best he can. And we've only got 14 minutes of the race to go as well now, as over the timing line there goes John Hennessy, still drawing attention to himself in 11th place, leading the Lamborghini Cup right now. Now, what has happened in all of that, therefore, to Mark Farney and Terry Olsen? They're third in class, so they've dropped out in this second stint. Race leaders currently working then lap number 22, as there over the line goes Antonucci once more. 1.4 seconds to the good right now. Capitano in second place. Eidson runs third. Wearing is fourth. Now, Max Wearing is dropping away from Jacob Eidson, interestingly. Their confirmation of the penalty going the way of Capitano. And you can see now as well that Jacob Eidson is right with him. So not only is the penalty there for Capitano, but that would put him behind the car that's doing the chasing in a sense, Idson doesn't really need to overtake, but he would like to go after Antonucci if he can. But the corrected times are going to move him ahead of the number 122 entry of Capitano anyway. But Jacob Idson, like I say, is a proper racer, wants to get through. Loris Spinelli, by the way, is still 10th, still pushing as they're in the traffic. Capitano gets a little bit held up. Jacob Idson might have a chance now to capitalise on that, so he's at the back of the queue, almost hidden. You can just see the Oppo branded rear wing there, pop out of the draft, the white-nosed car. Jacob Idson then right on the back of Dario Capitano. One of the back markers runs way, way, way wide in the background, but Jacob Idson, the American-Australian, started off in Australian single-seater racing, moved to the States, raced in Europe in the Walter Hayes Trophy and the Formula Ford Festival a long, long time ago. But now taking the fight to this man, Dario Capitano, as Richard Antonucci still leads the way. He's getting away. Capitano, I think he's rising to the challenge a little bit, because although Idson was close when they were on the back part of the circuit, let's see what the margin is now. 0.6 of a second between the two of them. There's another back marker up the road as well. They're going to have to negotiate very shortly as they dive down towards the Parco sequence of corners. And that right, left, right is in front of the big Lamborghini hospitality building, so many of the teams and guests watching on. And there, Capitano clatters up the inside of Bart Collins, runs out wide and loses second place in the melee. So Capitano, in his zealotry to get through the traffic, has shot himself in the foot to a degree there, because he's bounced out wide. And that now means that up into second place, Jacob Idson. A very happy Agakani Senior watching on the pit wall there. But right now, Jacob Idson and Stephen Agakani's car up into second place. They were going to be second anyway because of the penalty, but what has just happened is that Dario Capitano made that easy for them, tried to dive bomb the traffic, and has he got a puncture? Let's have a look at them. Yes, he has, it spins. The tyre has gone down, and Dario Capitano, with a puncture, a legacy of the contact, spins up at Tramonto. And that's going to cost them even more with 11 minutes to go. So Capitano has really now suffered as a legacy of that. It was a bold, slightly desperate move to get through the traffic. Contact, a place lost, a tyre has gone down, and Capitano has spun, and by the look of it, can't get the car started, so it's going from bad to worse. If he can't get it moving, because it looks like he's about to try and bail, that'll bring the safety car out, surely, because the car's stranded on the road. Capitano moving around inside the car, but it looks as though he can't restart it, and he's about to jump, so that would surely end up with the situation being neutralised, and therefore the gap's coming down. 1.7 seconds, Antonucci to Jacob Idson. We've got 10 minutes on the clock yet. Dario Capitano runs away, but the car's beached on the road, so I would imagine this has got to have another interruption to the race. There it is, look, you can see that the left rear tyre has gone down, a legacy of the contact, but I would be amazed. Yep, safety car comes out. I was about to say I'll be amazed if the race director Daniele Galviati didn't call for a safety car. He's got no option with a car on the road, has he? So safety car deployed again. So first race of the weekend, second safety car. And this really helps now Jacob Idson in second spot, because it brings him on to the tail of the leader. I don't think there are any back markers between those two. Didn't look like it when we last saw them, unless they found a back marker to position between themselves on the remainder of the lap. And now the real question is, how quickly can the road be made clear, ready for the restart? There's the gap. What gap? And Max Wearing is in contention all of a sudden in third place. So Richard Antonucci, having dominated the race, dealt a bad hand right at the end. He still holds on to win the championship, of course, but he could well do without the stress now of having to fight for the race win. And Jacob Idson showing intent by sitting right on the back of the leader. So over the line come the back markers, trying to play catch-up. And there, the leading car. Then the Bitbull backed entry. Now let's try and piece all that together. This was where the tyre went. I was about to say, as he turned in, does it look low at the back? Let's see. Well, we never got that far, because suddenly, bang, round it goes. And Dario Capitano with a sudden spin. The surprise is that the car wouldn't restart and get off the racetrack. So, I mean, a punctured tyre doesn't cause the car to fail to restart, unless the contact and the spin was a legacy of something jamming. If it was a big impact, did something seize in the transmission, and that's what caused the spin as much as the punctured tyre. Dario Capitano becomes a spectator, and the car yet to be retrieved. Now, all of this is good news for Antonucci because it's eating into the 8 minutes remaining. It's bad news for Jacob Eidson because it's eating into the 8 minutes remaining that he wants to go after the race leader. The safety car is letting the traffic go, so safety car scrambled. If it doesn't pick up the leader, it doesn't matter. You can allow those cars past until you do get the race leader, and then everybody will slot into position as the cars then now make the run hunting for the safety car. There they are in the background. We found them. So the safety car boards are out. Lively start to the day, right enough. Some rather frustrated drivers around the circuit now. So Stephen McAleer out of the race, and Patrick Liddy, Mel Johnson out of the race. Alan Metney we'd lost, and of course Jeroen Mull's mechanical dramas stopping him. And I think Ashton Harrison's race has got no better, sad to say, either, because that car has now lost 5 laps, so there's more than just that punctured tyre. Again, possibly a legacy of damage that is out as well. Right, finally, with everybody up behind the safety car, the instruction can be given now to get that car out of harm's way. But it's not going to be a quick process necessarily, this. It will be a lift, and thankfully, because of the nature of the circuit, there is runoff that the car can then be taken to. Look back from the safety car, you can see, relatively speaking, undamaged, but 6 3/4 minutes to go. It's probably going to be about 2 frantic laps, a real scramble up to the very end of what's been a fascinating race. And we're not done yet, of course. This late race safety car, exactly what teams need in the second stint when you've got your faster driver in the car, not what you need if you've got your slower driver in the car, because potentially they can lose places, but if you've got your gun for hire behind the wheel, it's always worth watching, and there's always chance of gaining more places. So safety car deployed for the second time of asking in this first of 2 North America races of the day. There the field accelerates through. .123 is Luke Barkley, a remarkably good 5th overall. He is leading the AM competition and looking very strong within the AM championship. So as far as that is concerned, with Alan Metney failing to score, with Ashton Harrison a long way back, and I'll question whether that car is still circulating, Luke Barkley is certainly 1 step closer to the championship, and it's going to be hard to stop. Safety car lights are still on, and with Dario Capitano out of the race, disappointment for Eduardo Liberati. Let's hear from him with Marietta.
Job was just protecting our teammate because he's leading the championship, so I was just following him. And then Dario had a contact with an overlapped car, with a slower car, and then he had a puncture 2 corners later because of the contact, and he spun. So it's a shame.
Thank you very much. Better luck for race 2.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, big disappointment for Eduardo Liberati then. Still wonder whether, because as I say, that car didn't restart, whether there's something more sinister like damage to the transmission, because admittedly, it would have been a long lap in and a ruined result, but just to abandon a car with a puncture on the road surprises me from a driver's point of view. Either it couldn't restart or could restart but couldn't move because of a damaged component to the transmission. Either way, it is that car that has brought out this safety car, and as you can see, it's still needing to be hoiked out of the way. So we've had about 4 or 5 minutes of safety car already. First of all, needing to get everybody in a queue. Only really when you've got the field under control can you let the marshals go trackside. You can't do that under the conditions of the car still catching up. So only now can you send them out to the stricken car. Then they have to attach it, then they have to get it off, then they have to go back on post. So it all eats into the time. I was suggesting a couple of frantic laps. Hopefully we'll still get that. So Richard Antonucci, the race leader, Jacob Eidson second, Antonucci a soloist, Eidson taking over from Stephen Agagani, Max Wearing solo driver third, fourth Danny Formal, the Costa Rican driver who is also in his first year of car racing, having switched from karting into Lamborghini Super Trofeo this year. So good to see more and more people not only coming into the sport, but into Lamborghini's family. Fifth is Luke Barkley, again in his first year of racing, and he's leading AM. And then sixth leading Pro-Am is Brian Ortiz, who took over from Brandon Godovic, and those two on target, of course, to win Pro-Am within the championship now. So the race leaders wriggling their way through, and we've got one car, I think, that's just come into the pit lane again. Ashton Harrison, yes. Oh, 122 rather unceremoniously hoiked out of the way. The danger there is that the front drags on the ground and does a bit of damage, so the marshals apply a bit of weight to the back and try and balance that. So through they come, and when the lights go out on top of the safety car, that's the indication that we'll be able to go racing at the end of the lap. I know this is bread and butter stuff to many of you, but just to make the point, that's what we're looking for. With only a couple of minutes to go, gosh, all of a sudden we're looking at possibly only one lap, aren't we here? So the time has rapidly been eaten into under this safety car period, and it will be in at the end of this lap, confirmation. So good, we're going to get one racing lap. A flying lap is a minute and a half, just over, and it'll be more than the 17 seconds. So one more lap at the end of this. And that's all Richard Antonucci needs to try to hang on to the advantage. It's all Jacob Eidson is going to get to try and find a way ahead of him. Other teams, other drivers watching on the pit wall. Safety car in at the end of the lap. It's confirmed on the screen as we get set. So Antonucci, Eidson, Wearing, Formel, Barkley, Ortiz, Jordan Missig is 7th, Victor Gomez is 8th, Loris Spinelli is 9th, John Hennessy doing a good job, 10th, leading Lamborghini Cup. We're going to go racing very shortly then, and it's going to be a real drag race down to the first corner. You can see that Jacob Eidson is on his toes, but it's up to Richard Antonucci now to control the restart. When does he go? Now is the answer. Accelerates towards the cover Misano, and he's jumped Jacob Eidson by a couple of lengths. Now we've got to make sure he doesn't run wide or make a mistake, but Antonucci's been like a train in this. He's been on rails. So onto the last lap of the penultimate race of Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America we go. Richard Antonucci is away and gone by 0.6 of a second. Jacob Eidson chases after him then as the field accelerates now through Parco for the first time up towards that tight right at Rio. And this is going to give us a few more battles lower down the order as well. Look, because there, side by side, trying to find a way up on the inside line in the traffic is Terry Olsen, and also Loris Spinelli makes it 3 wide into the corner. Did they survive it? They do, amazingly, and Spinelli, absolutely fantastic move, goes through the traffic there. Jordan Missig just there, up ahead of 129 of Victor Gomez, so he's battling for his 8th place. So inevitably, you bunch them all up. Safety cars can breed safety cars, but right now, it's giving us good racing, it's not giving us more mayhem. Antonucci leading the way then as the field accelerates through for the last time. Confirmation that we are on now. Lap 28, and the flag will be out this time as another challenge is being made there. Look, diving up towards Tramonto, and Jordan Missig battles with Victor Gomez for 8th, and Gomez goes through on the inside line, so Victor Gomez goes by. Terry Olsen is up the road, but a lap back as the cars accelerate on towards Curvone. And then the Curva del Caro, Jordan Missig trying to get back on the inside of Gomez. He does it. Brave stuff at Curvone. That was a really good pass. Jordan Missig back through on the inside, but Richard Antonucci is on target to win the race, no question about it. And this provisionally will give him the championship, I reckon. Looking at the permutations, the flag is out, the flag is ready. Richard Antonucci wins race 1 of Super Trofeo North America from, in 2nd place, Jacob Eidson and Stephen Agakani. And that, I reckon, has done enough to give Richard Antonucci the pro title. Max Wearing comes home in 3rd place. 4th to Danny Formal and Carl Marcelli. 5th to win in AM, Luke Barkley, which takes him another step closer. 6th to win Pro-Am on the last lap, Loris Spinelli. So a brilliant drive, helped by the safety car to bunch them all up. But Loris Spinelli and Claude Sonoretti win Pro-Am ahead of the new champions, Brian Ortiz and Brandon Godovic. And then 3rd in Pro-Am, Victor Gomez coming home 8th. 9th was Jordan Missig in 10th place. 2nd in AM, Randy Solari. 11th to win Lamborghini Cup, John Hennessy. 12th, 2nd in Lamborghini Cup. the car of Bart Collins and Michael Menella. Then third in the Lamborghini Cup, Mark Vanner and Terry Olsen, another step closer to the championship. Have to confirm if they've done that or not. Third of the AMs, 5 laps adrift, but still circulating, Ashton Harrison after her puncture early on in the race. So, drama all the way. Great way to start the action here at Misano, and well done Richard Antonucci, a really polished drive to come home victorious. So Richard Antonucci, the race winner, Jacob Eidson and Stephen Agakani taking second place, and that's the 6th win of the year for Richard Antonucci, and that's the kind of drive that does rather deserve championships, isn't it, if you can win that many races. So Richard Antonucci, by a second, wins the race. Actually, the margin was never much more than a second all the way through, but came right down, of course, because of the safety car at the end. Luke Barkley then, the AM winner, and I would offer you as champion-elect now in AM, because without having a chance yet to do the maths, I think he's now extended that margin so far over Alan Metney and Ashton Harrison that he's probably uncatchable. Ashton Harrison will be classified, even though she was 5 laps down, so she was still circulating. That's the Pro-Am winner, Loris Spinelli, who took over from Claude Senoretti. New to Super Trofeo this year, benefiting from Loris Spinelli's experience and tutelage. And so a Pro-Am win for Loris Spinelli and Claude Senoretti coming through in the MCR Racing entry. And that's John Hennessy, who's come through to win in the Lamborghini Cup for a 4th time this year, in fact, 4th win for John Hennessy. So Richard Antonucci then takes the Pro win. That makes it 6 for him. A first win of the season, in fact, in this championship for Loris Spinelli and Claude Senoretti in the Pro-Am competition in AM. Honours there to Luke Barkley, so that's win number 4. And as I say, Lamborghini Cup to John Hennessy. That is win number 4 as well. So the drivers that are required for the Parc Fermé and the presentations being waved to one area of the pits, and those that aren't sent back to their teams, and a couple of the teams with work to do now before the second race, because the mechanical maladies that stopped the Dream Racing entry of Capitanio and Liberati will need to be sorted out. Also, Change Racing have got to have a look at Stephen McAleer's car, and US Racetronics need to work their magic for Patrick Liddy and Mel Johnson to get that car back out for the second race later on in the afternoon. So the field returns to pit lane. And Richard Antonucci victorious. The second North American race will be at 2:45 local time, and we're at nearly 10 local time now if you're watching on the stream, just to set your clocks accordingly. So Richard Antonucci is a happy man, and as I say, that should now be enough to give him the championship with a race to spare, because he was a win ahead of Mark McAleer, and with the margin being 15 points because of the pole position point for race 2 and another win, I don't think Richard Antonucci can be caught. I can't see a way that he will be caught. So I reckon, Marietta, you've got a race winner and a champion in front of you there. But the team may well be confirming my crude sums and telling Richard the story as well, and we'll hear from him. Richard Antonucci wins race 1, and with it, I reckon, Marietta, he's the champion.
Richard, you had one mission today, to go for victory, to try and seal the championship. Boy, didn't you deliver.
Yes, I mean, the main goal really was the championship, but we didn't get to this position by managing and thinking too much of points. My style is attack. This team is incredible. Dream Racing, supported by Antonelli Motorsports this weekend. Everyone perfectionist. My sponsor, Bitbull, to get me here. I'm so thankful for Dream Racing, Bitbull, and Antonelli Motorsports for the support. What an incredible journey. And we won more than half so far, because there's one to go, but incredible season. And we won in style.
Could you repeat this for the World Finals?
I'll tell you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Nothing like confidence, hey, Marietta? Yeah, I think Richard Antonucci could do it in the World Final. And, of course, the beauty of that is that if he's a solo driver for the World Final, we've not yet seen the confirmed entry, but if he doesn't need a co-driver, then there's nothing to affect his pace. So, looking good for him. Marietta, back to you.
Guys, I think now it is official. You are the champions in your category. How are you feeling about it?
Really good. It's been a long year, great races, and it's first time we're, at least for me, it's first time in Italy. It's been a great experience, and for us to clinch the championship here officially is great. To have a great run until the end, almost got the win, but very, very happy for the team, for Brandon, that they all gave me the opportunity to drive for them this year, and it's been a great season.
Brandon, how are you feeling right now?
Yeah, pretty good. Definitely excited to be able to wrap up another championship. We had a great year, had a bunch of wins, a bunch of good times. Unfortunately, lost the win there right on the last lap, but still something good to work on for the weekend here. But yeah, ecstatic again to win the championship and go home with some trophies.
Good luck for race 2 and the World Finals.
Brian Ortiz, you heard from first, who's just got out of the car, and Brandon Kodovic, the Pro-Am champion. So we've heard from the overall race winner and the Pro champion, and of course our Pro-Am victors as well. Looking down from the high shot, there is in the pit lane John Hennessy. He's the winner of the Lamborghini Cup within the race, and the drivers very swiftly will be whisked towards the podium. Podiums, plural, of course, because we've got 4 of them for Super Trofeo, with the podium per class. So we'll be getting things underway very shortly, and a day of plenty of racing. 4 races here for the teams in total, but 2 for America, 2 for Europe, the last rounds. And then tomorrow there's the warm-up and the qualifying for Super Trofeo in the World Final in the morning, and then the first races in the afternoon. We normally have the split between the Pro and the Pro-Am race, and then the Lamborghini Cup and the AMs to give them something to aim for, and race 2 on the Sunday, and you take the points from those races and add them together. So the circuit goes quiet for the moment, and let's have a look at some of the highlights of that race, which included that early fight between Danny Formal and Max Weering. And there, Loris Spinelli, who was another of the stars during that second stint in the race. That car fighting its way on the last lap into contention to score the class win. 147, you see there, Terry Olsen. You can see how the drivers ride the curb almost the wrong side there in the context of Richard Antonucci, but using as much of the real estate as the regulations will permit. So the race winners being encouraged towards the podium. Very shortly then we can get the podium ceremony underway for this penultimate round of Lamborghini Super Trofeo North America at the Misano circuit, named these days after the late Marco Simoncelli, who we sadly lost in MotoGP a few years ago. Chris Ward, the coordinator of Super Trofeo America, is there to make sure he's got all the right drivers and they are appropriately adorned, whether it's with regulation caps or with face masks, if they so choose. And so now, make sure you've got your co-driver, and then they can be encouraged forward, and we'll start, I suspect, with Pro. But Richard Antonucci has done a splendid job to not only score race win here, but 6 in total. And congratulated by Chris Ward, who says, well done, champion. Maurizio Reggiani is there from Lamborghini as well, ready to assist with prize giving. So drivers come forward. And we are going to do this in reverse, in fact. So it's Lamborghini Cup that we start with. So on the podium, Mark Farmer and Terry Olsen. Now Michael Menella and Bart Collins step forward. And John Hennessy, as the class winner, comes forward. Lamborghini Cup honours then for the 4th time this season to John Hennessy. And we've lost him. Where is he? We have 3rd, we have 2nd, but we don't have a winner. but he's somewhere here. There he is. John Hennessy has been found. Well done, John. He arrives then, the driver that came to Super Trofeo last season, and John Hennessy on the top step, making an entrance, that's for sure, here at Misano, winner of Lamborghini Cup. Maurizio Reggiani hands over the bronze trophies for third, then the silver trophies for second. Goes there to Bart Collins and Michael Manella. And then the class winner, John Hennessy, win number 4 of the season in Lamborghini Cup. A happy man on the top step here. Everybody now shepherded together for the photographs. And the Pirelli Trophy goes to John Hennessy as well. John Hennessy then is victorious in Lamborghini Cup in the US Racetronics entry. And now the champagne is ready. And even though they have a race to go, and even though it is not yet 10:30 in the morning, alcohol is sprayed. The champagne goes everywhere, and 5 happy drivers atop the Lamborghini Cup podium then here at Misano. So congratulations to John Hennessy. He jumps down and makes his way then back to the team. The drivers get set for our AM podium next, but there is the very distinctive blue and gold car of John Hennessy that came through somewhat dominant in the end, because it was the only car out of the class on the lead lap. The way that the traffic had formed meant that the opposition, the car of Bart Collins and Michael Manella, was a lap adrift. So now for the AM class, Ashton Harrison steps forward for third place. Despite the puncture early on, the Wayne Taylor Racing car driver is third. Second in AM goes the way of Randy Solari, who was last year's Lamborghini Cup champion. And then the winner in AM in a great season, first of car racing, Luke Barkley, heads on to the podium. And the Dream Racing Motorsport driver celebrates for him win number 4 in the AM Cup. So 3 soloists on the podium. Now the trophy's presented. Ashton Harrison gets hers. So even though she was quite a long way down in the end, still good enough, the results, the number of laps, to be counted as third. Second has already gone to Randy Solari. And there the class winner, Luke Barkley, who is, as I say, virtually assured now of the championship. The Pirelli Trophy goes to Luke Barkley as well. They all get together on the podium for the photographs. So Luke Barkley gets the 15 points for the win. Ashton Harrison was 17 back, so she's been outscored, so can't be done, can it? And yeah, that's it. Luke Barkley, because of Alan Metney's retirement, I would offer you, is the class champion. So Luke Barkley celebrates the win, celebrates the title, and job done for Luke Barkley in his first year of car racing. Top effort indeed. Ashton Harrison really frustrated that that contact on the first lap did for the tyre, which therefore did for her chances. So the drivers make their way off the podium, and we had a great drive by Luke Barkley, much of it spent early on fighting with Jordan Missig. That was how he found a way past Jordan Missig in the end, despite having led the Pro-Am, sorry, Jordan Missig having led the Pro-Am contest early on. Jordan didn't even get on the podium because in the second stint, so he fell down the order, but Luke Barkley coming through as class winner, class champion in AM. Right, we're into Pro-Am next, as onto the podium for third place is Victor Gomez. For second are the champions, Brandon Gdovich and Brian Ortiz. And then for the top step, first win of the year for Claude Sonoretti and Loris Spinelli. There they are, standing atop the podium. And Loris Spinelli, I think, is going to have a gold card to the podium by the end of the weekend, given that he's got a good drive here in the class and also a very good drive in the European Championship with Max Wearing in the Pro Cup. And there's the World Final to factor in as well. We'll see who he partners in that, because we haven't yet had the entry list confirmed. But Loris Spinelli, I think, will need a spare suitcase come the end of the weekend. Chris Ward hands over the trophies to the winners. Loris Spinelli and Claude Sonoretti rounding out a good debut season for Claudinel in Super Trofeo. The P0 Pirelli Trophy goes to the AM driver within the Pro-Am combination. And now as the drivers bunch up, photos are taken. And the celebrations can be underway for Claude Sonoretti and Loris Spinelli, winners for the first time this season in Pro-Am in Super Trofeo North America. It was the most perfect backdrop as well. Now as Loris Spinelli jumps from the podium, ready to go, partly get ready for his next race and partly keep his overalls dry. The sound in the background are lots of road-going Huracan heading onto the circuit for passenger laps. So perfect soundtrack for the celebrations of more Lamborghinis echoing around the Misano circuit here. So, with a clink of the bottles, our Pro-Am victors will jump down. Victor Gomez, then the Puerto Rican for third place. Second, Brandon Gdovich and Brian Ortiz. And this was the move that really teed up Loris Spinelli and Claude Sonoretti for that win. It was a gamble by Loris Spinelli, but he got the inside line in the traffic and made the move ahead of Brian Ortiz, jumped through 3 wide, and it worked for him. Fantastic effort. And Loris Spinelli proving why a pro in a Pro-Am car is worth their weight in gold. So now we have the Pro Podium, and Max Weering, the Dutch driver who's been jetting back and forth this year, takes third. For second place, the bespectacled Stephen Agakani and his co-driver, which is Jacob Eidson, make their way to the podium. And the top step, the champion, the 6-time race winner this year, Richard Antonucci, and he claims honours in Super Trofeo North America on track and on points. It is a happy Richard Antonucci who takes the championship then. It is a shame for podiums that we're still obliged to have masks at Misano, but the drivers, all of them, especially perhaps the visiting American teams, so pleased to be back with the Lamborghini family reunited, so glad to be travelling once more, and that makes it feel like the world is opening up that little bit further. So the Pirelli Trophy handed over for the race winner, Richard Antonucci. Very, very good job. And if the Europeans were watching that closely, they would have taken into note exactly how fast he was and factor that in ready for the world final. Richard Antonucci the winner, Stephen Agakani, Jacob Eidson second, Max Weering third in our first North American race of the day. The last round coming up this afternoon. We've got the European first of 2 races next on track at 5 minutes past 12, so in about an hour and a half's time. Both cars will venture on to the circuit. But for now, Richard Antonucci celebrates the race win and celebrates with it a championship. An excellent job done here at Misano. So Richard Antonucci, the victorious pro and the race winner as he hustled over the line to win from, in that second spot, Jacob Eidson and Stephen Agakani. Max Weering taking third place. So Richard Antonucci victorious, and he will be very much the man to beat in race 2, especially as he doesn't have the pressure of thinking about points for the championship. He can just go out and go as fast as he can. Not that he was hanging about in race 1. Right, join us later on for the second North American race. We'll see you in about an hour and a half or so for the first European race, and we'll leave you with a look back at a really lively first race of the day for the North American Lamborghini Super Trofeo. Bye for now. Race 1 of the weekend underway.